What's going on, guys? Strong Life Podcast with Bret Contreras. I believe we're at episode 157, brought to you by intechstrength.com, undergroundstrengthcoach.com, and raspyvoice.com. So, looking forward to having everybody jumping on board. Going to have a great podcast with Bret. And Bret is here. I'll tell you guys, the virus is crushing me. That I went to pick up food for my wife, and I went into a different, she ordered Jersey Mike subs, I went into a Manhattan bagel. All right, Bret, let's get you on board, my man. Ed. Should be going through now, guys. Looking forward. Bret.
Yes.
What's up, brother?
So you're sick?
Dude, I just shared everybody a story. So I got some virus about 2 weeks ago, and it just destroyed my throat. So my wife sends me to pick up some food, and I walk into the whole wrong place. And I went to for Jersey Mike subs, but I went into a Manhattan bagel. I'm like, yeah, Danielle sent me here to pick up an Italian sub. They're like, you're in Manhattan bagel, Jersey Mike subs down the street. I was like, oh. I left there. I was like, they were probably high-fiving each other, laughing their asses off after I left. So great to have you on the podcast. I know you got so much going on. You moved to San Diego a couple months ago, and it was it seemed like a whirlwind watching you, because I know you had mentioned you had just paid off your house, and then all of a sudden I see you with this pumping gym out in San Diego, and you're just moving speed of light, crushing it. So what's going on, man? A lot of stuff going on.
So you're right. I lived in Phoenix for 40 years. And then, in September I moved here. And I always wanted to open up a gym in San Diego. I've been visiting here forever. And so both my grandparents lived here.
Okay.
So but I didn't want to live I didn't want to live far away from the beach. I didn't want to live 15 minutes away from the beach. I wanted to live right on the beach. So I saved up and saved and saved. I paid off my house in Phoenix.
Yep.
And then saved a bunch of money, enough to put a huge down payment down on this house right on the beach in San Diego, and then opened up a gym here. But it was very trying because I had a gym in Phoenix for a few years, and it was so easy. I didn't realize how good I had it back then, because this was 12 years ago, I believe. I leased it was a yoga studio, but it was all black, and then it had black lights all around. I guess they did spin.
Yeah.
It was perfect for me because I moved all my equipment, and then 2 days later I opened up. And so I had clients starting 2 days in, and I had negotiated for 2 free months rent. So I was positive income and I already had 10 clients I was training out of my garage who came with me. So I made, it was positive income from day one.
Yep.
Whereas here, I had to renovate this place, and, it was this case of anything that can go wrong does go wrong. And so I renovated the place. I was ready on my end on the end of December, and my landlord, his contractors failed so many inspections, and kind of not his fault, because some of these, in California here, you get an inspection, they say fix these 3 things, you fix them, and then they send a new inspector who finds 3 new things. It's such a stupid process. So, but the problem was, I told these 2 trainers that I met, I'm like, quit your jobs and work for me. I'll pay you well. I'll double your salaries. and they're awesome trainers. They're kicking butt right now, which I'll get to this in a minute. We're at 100% conversion. We've had like 65 people come through these doors to try out a session. All 65 have signed up. It's amazing. Like,
is it all women, or are there any guys?
I think there's there was a dude here yesterday. I gave him a high five. It was awesome.
He must be in heaven. He must think he is in heaven.
There's probably 3 guys, but and 62 women. But anyway, I had to pay my trainers. I have a mortgage now. In Phoenix, I didn't have a mortgage. In Phoenix, I had a garage gym.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Phoenix, I had a 4-car garage gym.
It's huge.
Yeah, and here I rented a 1,800 square foot place, and so I have a mortgage, I have a lease, I have 4 employees that I'm paying, so I have to come up with $30,000 more per month than I used to in Phoenix. So which would be fine if I was making had the gym open, but the gym wasn't open, and then I've had website trouble for several straight months, and it's no one can fix it. It's
what happened? I feel the same. I feel like finding a good web developer is like finding literally a ninja, like back in a ninja from the 70s, when they.
And it's good. That's where I sit there. I had one that I found that was decent, and then I'm like, God, she said she's only working for me, and she's so slow. There's no way. So I go on this Upwork.com and find out she has 8 other people, and I'm paying her $2,000 a week. So it's that comes to $104,000 a year, and you're so greedy you have to work for 6 other people. So anyway. So I've been writing programs for people and taking on more, just working harder. So I find myself to make ends meet, working 19-hour days, and that's how I survived. I weathered the storm. Now we're bringing in clients. My website, I'm paying $17,000 to convert my site to a pure Shopify site because there's
right.
No way.
I think Shopify or Squarespace. What's happened is these web designers they're very slow. I don't know. I wonder if they're just hanging out in the coffee shop and they're high-fiving each other, being like, Bret and Zach are still paying us and we are doing nothing.
No, it's like when the mechanic knows he can tell you anything. I don't know they could tell me anything. I'm like, okay. But owning a gym, it's funny because I've had mostly online businesses and it's no stress.
Yeah.
Having a real gym, there's a lot of things involved that can go wrong. So
yeah, it's you and I only met in person some 4 or 5 years ago at Summer Strong, but we had known each other through the online. We didn't meet at any of Ryan Lee's events. Am I right? We never met, right?
Any of those. I've never studied marketing, and I kind of despise a lot of those people because I'm I study science, and I'm in the gym all day long. So I come up with so much content just from being spending my life in a gym.
Yeah.
I always talk to these biomechanists, and I'm like, you think you can learn about what exercise safety through reading journal articles? You learn about what works and what doesn't and what's dangerous and what's not through spending your life training yourself and training other people and working with people from all walks of life. These exercises you say aren't dangerous. Crunches aren't dangerous. Squats and deadlifts are dangerous. Everyone hurts themselves on squats and deadlifts. We don't shy away from them. I'm just saying. People are saying, oh, hip thrusts are dangerous. No, they're not. I've trained 2,000 people in the last, 12 years. No one's ever hurt themselves. They just don't know how to coach it.
Yeah.
Squats and deads, we do them. But those are the exercises you need to really respect, But if you teach people how to not hyperextend on the hip thrust, back extensions, if you don't go crazy on crunches and you make sure these exercises are not hurting anyone.
Right.
I wouldn't debate anyone. I know the research. I read 400 journal articles on disc physiology and biomechanics. You're not going to end range flexion, but I hear all these things and I'm like, these people think you can learn about exercise safety through books.
Well,
hurts people. You're like me. we've spent our life in the gym.
It's a couple things come to mind is number one, I know last year I was watching your videos, you were doing, I think like 500 pounds for 10 reps on the deadlift. Am I right? Or more?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell? Bret is just destroying me. I was like, I just want to get back to deadlifting 500. And nobody realized, I don't think, unless somebody's met you in person, you're like 6'4", 6'5", you're huge.
6'4", 6'4", like 238 pounds right now.
You are a big guy. When I met you, I remember like looking up at you. I was like, oh man. And seeing the weights you were moving was amazing. You were benching and doing like a lot of volume. And then on the flip side, you mentioning like a lot of these biomechanists saying, train like this, don't train like that. I don't actually legitimately remember the name, but I have like the Russian manuals. And one of those like famous Russian, exercise scientists was on Instagram, like training a younger kid, and the technique of everything looked like, a teenager who never lifted before. The coach was letting him do some horrific stuff. And I was like, like we could read all the books we want, but until you are under that bar and spending not just years, but decades of training, you develop that coach's eye where you could say, if you add 5 more pounds to that bar, it will destroy that lift. Or I need you to, I said do 4 reps, but this next set, you're just going to give me 2. Like you develop that eye by being on the ground floor. And you, like you said, you're coaching and training and you're all that online training. I'm assuming you're doing a lot of video coaching, and you must see how people move so differently just because of their body types.
Oh God, their anthropometry plays so much into it. It's funny, like how much different I am as a trainer now. Like, I'll show you. Like, here I'm in my gym right now. I got these squat wedges here off Amazon. They're like yoga.
Yeah.
You put people's heels on those, it fixes everyone's squat form. And I remember coming up as a strength coach here, and these people go, "Oh, that's a crutch. That's a crutch. Don't use those. Those are dangerous." What the hell are you talking about? It keeps people more upright. It makes it safer for everyone. Like,
this is great.
Elevate their heels. We do a lot of we do goblet squats, a ton of goblet squats with the heel elevated. We do this lever machine here,
I saw that.
And people don't hurt themselves when they use the lever squat, when they use the goblet squat. Here's all my heavy kettlebells.
Yep.
I mean, I'm up to 203-pound kettlebell.
I've seen him in your gym.
106, 157, and a 203. We deadlift mostly with kettlebells here now, and it's fine. No one hurts themselves. But
how come most kettlebells? I remember seeing a lot of the girls you train doing a lot of sumo and regular deads. And is it all depends?
So I've shied away. So I feel like I'm the glute lab. So I did the stint in powerlifting myself where I did a couple of years of, I did like 3 meets of 3 or 4 meets, and I pulled 601 in competition. I've pulled 620 out of the gym, but out of a meet, like in a gym lift. But I feel like it made me a worse personal trainer. I used to do more high reps and less rest time and more bodybuilding style. And then if for those my followers who saw me, like how I trained my clients at the glute lab out of my house in my garage gym, I was doing a lot of heavy lifting.
Yes.
But it's not to blame the lift itself. It's when you're doing squats and deads, it's the desire to progressively overload. It's like the exercise safety sometimes is like directly proportional to how badly you want to get stronger at it. So nobody like pushes their form and like on like seated rows, because people don't care about what they seated row. But but like squats and deadlifts, it's so hard. You lie to yourself. Something's feeling off, and you're like, you have it in your mind. You want to get, you want to set a PR.
Men especially.
Yeah.
But what about?
You just don't days, and so then you use bad judgment. I always say hindsight's 20/20. When you hurt yourself, you're like, God, my low back wasn't feeling right, or my body was trying to tell me something. I ignored it. But so now we still do a lot of squats and deads, but it's higher reps and variations of them. But now I always tell my women, like, I can build your glutes as long as you're injury free. So just don't do anything on your end that's going to cause you to get injured, and I'll build your glutes just fine. But if you hurt yourself, like if you go sprinting, and here's the thing about sprinting, like I love sprinting. I love the Olympics. I love following all the sprinters, but it's a very risky endeavor. And Zach, you and I would never take 2 years off of lifting and be like, I'm going to go do 8 max singles in the deadlift.
Exactly.
We'll take 2 years off of sprinting, go to the track, and end up running 8 max, like 100-meter sprints. The next day, you feel like you've been caned. Like,
yeah,
your flexors, your hamstrings. And so, you know, I have girls that have strained their hammy, their calf, their rectus femoris, irritated their SI joint, you know, with sprinting. So I don't say like never sprint it, but if you're going to ease into it and be smart about it, but it's really hard to go to the track and sprint at 50%, and then at 60%, and then at 70%, or to start at 10 meters and go all out, but it progressively increase the distance. So I always my competitors, I'm like, don't sprint, don't do plyos, don't do anything, just lift and walk on an incline treadmill, and you will stay free, you know?
You know, incline walking on a treadmill is like, even at the university level, you know, our guys just finished nationals 2 weeks ago. And I said, guys, the days we're not training, I want you to just put the treadmill on an incline and power walk, because it's just, they gained weight, you know, they've gained weight. And now I need it's like a different feel to rebuild your aerobic and anaerobic capacity when you're 20 pounds heavier.
Oh, yeah.
Gain 20 pounds, it changes things. What, you know,
even real quick, when you do chin-ups, like 245, 255, like chin-ups take a toll on your body. When I weigh 225, chin-ups feel like nothing. It's
right.
Like, that's why I'm like, why do these bodybuilders always do pull-downs and not so many pull-ups? And because it's a lot of stress on your joints. You wouldn't understand this until you're really heavy.
I noticed that when you were doing a lot of the heavy lifting, when you were in Arizona, just, you know, a few months ago, you were doing lat pull downs. And I don't know, you know, I'm 42 and I just started feeling a lot of those aches and pains. So I started getting back to some bodybuilding work, and even you saying, hey, we squat on these wedges with heels elevated. In the golden era, those guys all squatted on a little like 2x4, and my mind started.
Arnold come to mind, and like,
yeah, Arnold, Dave Draper, and I'm thinking to myself, I didn't really hear much about those guys getting injured. I didn't hear Ken Waller, you know, blowing out a pec, but these guys, they were strong. They were, you know, they ran, they swam on the beach, they did athletic stuff, and they didn't care if it was a pull up or a pull down. Whereas I think in this day and age, as you know, especially the past 5 years, you know, everybody touts like XYZ is superior to ABC. So when I watch you train, I love that I get this feeling that you're just doing what's right for the person.
Oh God, it's so true. So like, it irritates me so bad, these stupid, like whenever I do pull-ups, pull downs, there'd be some guy that says like, not a pull-up was performed that day. And I'm like, as if my training is weak. And it's like, you know, I do pull-ups and I put it on the stack, and then I'll pin an extra 25-pound plate to it, or I can do the stack for 20 reps.
Yep.
At any point in time, if I'm doing deadlifts and pull downs and stuff, I can do 10 chin-ups at any point in time. And so, but it's more about what keeps me. But you had all these people chime in. The other day, one of my clients, if she does wide stance sumo deadlift, she hurts her hips, and she's posted a video of herself, and some powerlifter chimes in and goes, go wider and stay more upright. It's like, that hurts her hips. You don't quit giving unsolicited advice to this person. She didn't ask for advice. It's just men trying to, I think, in their minds, this woman's going to go, oh my God, you're so smart, you should sleep with me. And that's not what happens. These guys need to shut up and just, It's annoying. They offer their, oh, you're not her trainer. You don't know in real life. It's one thing if they're asking for advice, but anyway, it's so stupid to me, these arguments that I see. And like, I love all exercises. And so you'll never see ever something written by me that's like 10 stupidest exercise or like 5 worthless exercises. Like, I've never liked the Turkish get-up that much. I'm like, what does it do? Like, I'm in building muscle, but I can appreciate if someone can do a 100-pound Turkish get-up. I'm like, holy crap, that's amazing. I appreciate, and I can break it down and go, that's like a lunge, an overhead press, a plank, like all things in one. But I'll never bash it. I'll never bash it, but I don't prescribe much of it. But like, yeah, I don't bash exercises. I love thinking why you would want to do things. And people, they bash the leg extension, say just squat, but the leg extension builds the rectus femoris better than the squat. There's like 5 studies. So the rectus femoris is a badass muscle if you get lean enough, you know, it shows through. So also some days you're beat up, you want to just do some high rep leg extensions. What's wrong with that?
Yes. So, you know, Bret, you know, what is your PhD in, by the way?
It's in sports science. My professor was cool. He kind of let me do it in glutes. Like, I studied mainly like glutes, squats, hip thrusts, and I compared the two. I was very lucky to have a really good professor.
So, you know, I have so many questions for you. You know, the glute bridge or the glute thrust, what's the proper name for it?
So barbell glute bridges are from the floor, and barbell hip thrusts with your shoulders on a bench.
The shoulders on the bench. Now, I feel like either I'm more aware of it or you're smarter than me, so you probably have maybe more research on this, but more people have, you know, I've hurt my back, I've injured my back. Is it, you know, with you studying so intensely, squatting and glutes, you know, why are more people hurting their back? Is it weak glutes or is it we're weak all around? You know, and what is that power behind the barbell hip thrust? You know, you built your own piece of equipment, and I know you did research. I remember when we were at Summer Strong, like somebody was talking about something. You're like, listen, I've done research on it. I've tested things on a force plate. So you knew. And I was like, oh, I love Bret Contreras. Like,
weightlifting coach.
Yeah.
And remember that? He's like a high level, but I don't know who he is, but he got pissed.
Yes.
I said, you can get more power output just jumping with a hex bar than you can with the Olympic lifts. And he was like, no, you can't. And I'm like, yes, you can. There's studies on it. And he's like, you can't prove that. I'm like, yeah, you can. You just stand on a foot and do exercise. It's very easy. Yeah, it's fun. I didn't know who he was, and people were coming up to me afterwards. That's this high-level Olympic coach you were arguing with. And I'm like, I don't care. He's wrong. He doesn't know science. But anyway.
People get caught in there. This is my idea. And I've evolved more through the years because of not just my own injuries, but I've found a de-evolution of the human being, meaning the athletes I train, even at the highest level, keep showing up unable to do a pull-up, a proper body weight squat. And it actually brings me back to a lot of kind of old school golden era type bodybuilding to put some muscle on them. So
let me ask you a question about the back pain. Like,
yes.
Because that's a very good question. And I study pain science. I'm friends with a lot of them. I study biomechanics. I'm in the gym all the time. So I feel very qualified to answer this. But what I will say is that I don't like the language a lot of people use surrounding glutes, because it can, the language we use can cause nocebo effects, which are the opposite of placebo effects. You can plant seeds. So if I went to all my clients and was like palpating their glutes and I'm like, oh my God, your glutes don't work. Do you have back pain? Or like, oh my God, you sit a lot. Your glutes have shut down. Every client I get comes to me and they're like, just FYI, my glutes don't activate. I have a glute imbalance. I'm this, I'm that. And I'm like, oh my God, you're fine. Like, you're fine. You're a normal person. You just need to get more fit. And that's what I'm going to do with you.
Yeah.
So but I shoot everything down, Zach. It's so funny. They'll be like, I have a leg length discrepancy, of like 3 inches. And I'm like, oh, you do? Wow, lay down. And then I'm like, okay, I'm lining your legs up. They look pretty equal to me. Actually, they're exactly equal. And they're like, no, like a chiropractor told me this. I'm like, of course a chiropractor told you this, but I'm telling you, your legs are equal. Then they'll say, my glutes don't activate. And I'm like, here, get down in the bridge. And I'll palpate. And I'm like, oh, wow, they actually activate very well. Or like, they'll say, I have a weak core. And I'm like, let me see you get down and try a side plank. Oh, wow, like your abs are actually strong. You have a strong core. They're like, no, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, so this physical therapist who told you have a weak core, what test did he give you? Because I'm telling you, you're actually pretty advanced. You don't have a weak core.
It's just a crazy buzzword that gets thrown around, and you're right.
It gets thrown around. These people don't know what they're doing. They just, but people also, they're giving them what they want. It's like people want prescriptions. They also want labels. So if you tell someone they have gluteal amnesia or whatever, winged scapulae or excessive anterior pelvic tilt or whatever the hell you want to tell them, they all believe it. And then they'll go tell people like, because I watch it and they'll be like, it's like an excuse. It's like a crutch. Now you don't have to feel guilty for not being fit. You're like,
it's not just with, you experienced that with these ladies, but, years ago we started seeing articles like this and men were like glute amnesia, but the way I explain it in the like strength and conditioning realm is if I have an athlete that has like attached himself to a UFC fighter who just does speed work and, hit that, he saw stuff and he's following, John Smith fighter. And that guy's like, don't lift weights. Strength work is no good. It slows you down. That athlete can never get strong because he will believe that if he deadlifts more than 135, 185, he will become slow. Yet every time I look at like the best athlete, he or she is strong and explosive and had to lift some heavy weights to get there. And we could brainwash ourselves because of the internet.
Yep.
To us now. I always say.
That's what I feel like step one of training people here is like getting it out of their minds that they're weak or something's wrong with them or they're deconditioned or whatever they think and saying, actually, you're very strong, you're fit. I'm going to get you way more fit, but you're good. You're good to go. If someone says, I have anterior pelvic tilt, I'm like, I wish I had anterior pelvic tilt. All sprinters have it. And they're the best. They're the fastest people in the world. I shoot down everything, and then they realize they should just shut up because I'm not going to let them have it. Zach, think of the movie 300.
Yep.
Like, did we sit there and go, oh, we have shortcomings. There's no way we can win this war with this battle. No, we are strength and conditioning coaches. People's minds, bodies, and spirits. I'm not giving them crutches. I'm not going to tell them their weaknesses. I'm not going to be like, a commander would never be like, hey, Zach, you're on the front line and, just do the best you can. You've got this impairment, but you're probably going to get killed. But, just go do the best you can. No, you don't tell them that. You say, Zach, you are going to crush it. Get on out there and give it your all. And I will see you back here at the end. We will meet back here. And, you got to, that's why I see myself as strength and conditioning is not just about strengthening the body, the mind and spirit. You got to give them confidence. You don't tell them their weaknesses. You compliment them. You give them, I call it the movement pattern continuum. Whatever the hell they start out with, like if it's push-ups, some people can do real push-ups. Some people, you got to do torso elevated or whatever the heck you start them with, band assisted or knee push, whatever. And then you compliment them and you go, wow, good job. If it's a squat pattern, you might start someone with a high box squat, body weight, and they do it and you go, good job. You're kicking butt today. And the next time they beat the record, you say, oh my God, you got 2 more reps. That is awesome. High five. And all of a sudden at the end of the year, they've trained with you a full year and they're strong as hell and fit as hell.
Brett, like this, what you're saying, when the general term strength and conditioning to me is it's just not a good one because it's like we're doing strength and then we're doing conditioning. I like to say a performance coach, and I always say we're changing lives through strength. all the things that you said, I'm not sure, you can't really learn that from a book. You've got to learn to communicate with people, with so many people, because the way I explain it is I've trained some men that are in their 40s, 50s, but they're still that secure 15-year-old, just 30 years older. And you've got to get them to believe, you end up getting them to believe in life through training. So hearing you talk about how you compliment and lift people up, to me, is the essence of being a great coach. Like I always said, the minimum effective dose is you have to be changing lives. And somebody asked if we'll be posting this. So yes, I save these, and these will go on YouTube and the iTunes Strong Life podcast. So I know some people were asking.
Real quick, earlier I never addressed what you
Yes.
said. The coach's eye. You reminded me of something. I meant to comment on that. The coach's eye. It's so true. Like, how do you teach someone how much knee valgus is acceptable? How much butt wink is acceptable? I don't know how to teach. I just know when I see it. People will be like, well, her knees caved in. And I'm like, oh, that's nothing you got to worry about. That wasn't that much. A little bit of knee cave is not that bad, or a little bit of butt wink is no big deal. If you're going rock bottom in a squat and you post your tilt a little bit. But how do you teach that, coach? That's a coach's eye you develop through years of training people. I don't know what degrees. I can't be like 5 degrees of posterior pelvic tilt is fine, but no more than that. It's just something you see and you're like, like that's something to be worried about and concerned with, or that's not. And
or hey, listen, it looks like that, but in 2 weeks when you're stronger, that's not going to happen anymore. And you're not so heavy or aggressively where you're going to get hurt. We're okay. Let's move forward with it. And you're so right. I mean, this is a message that I can't wait for it to get out. It's true, because people are overthinking everything, and then people are scared of everything. And you're right. When you think with fear about the training, it's very hard for that person to make progress because they've been scared by all these things they've seen on the internet. Whereas sometimes the best thing you could do is, get away from it. That's probably why I love so much the older training stuff. I've got a bunch of magazines from the 70s, 60s, and 50s, and I love the simplicity of it. And nothing in there is talking about your knee valgus, your butt wink, and they're moving tremendous weights, and they look amazing.
No, and I grab it. That's why I always love your stuff, because we grew up reading a lot of the same texts and these classics that the millennial trainers will never know. They'll never know. They never read these books that you and I did. They didn't grow up reading only the strongest shall survive, and dinosaur training, and super squats, and
Arnold's Encyclopedia.
Arnold's Encyclopedia, the keys to progress.
Yes.
Hard gainer, all these stuff that we read, all these classics.
Oh. Yeah. What are you reading now, Bret? What do you read, whether it's training or not? What do you do to settle the mind? Because I could tell your mind is training like me. Somebody was asking me today, so what do you do outside of training to kind of calm that busy mind?
Yep. So I read 2 types of things. I go through Twitter at night and I follow a bunch of scientists, and then I try to stay up on the science, which I feel guilty if I don't, but it's hard as a trainer. You get home, you're exhausted, especially if you're doing online stuff. Mm-hmm. But I try to read like one journal article, at least skim it and do it some justice.
Yep.
Each night. But for pleasure and to calm my mind, I read I'm almost done with them though, the Jack Reacher series. I love reading fiction. I always have. I gave it up for like 20 years though. I used to read like 10 different authors, like John Grisham and all these people back in the day, like when I was like 20, 21.
Yeah.
22. And then I gave up all these things back then because I was like, this isn't going to get me anywhere in life. This is fun. I have too much free time in my life. I'm going to get rid of it. I quit watching sports because I watch sports all day long with my friends, and I'm like, this is a hobby. It makes me think I'm busy. I'm busy, but I'm not productive. So I gave up watching sports. I gave up reading. I gave up playing golf. I'm like, this is an expensive hobby. I love golf, but it's expensive. I gave up all these things, and then now I can afford the golf now. I should start playing again. But I just started doing like reading more fiction over the last couple of years, and I love it. I live vicariously through these characters that I can relate to, and like I like reading, you know, like stuff that I wish I could do, like beating people up that I can't, you know. So, but that's what I've been reading, and then I try and there's a couple of shows that I watch on TV, and but I'd like to start doing more of that. I moved to San Diego. It's beautiful here. I need to start riding my cruiser more on the beach. Yeah. But on the flip side, when you start up a gym, when you start up some other things, you're going to be busy as hell. You're going to be stressed. You just know that there's an end in sight once you put in the work, pave the way, and then you can kick back a little bit and enjoy the, you know, enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Yeah, what's interesting is that your niche, being the glute guy, and it's predominantly women seeking out your coaching and your consulting. I was listening to a podcast, and this guy does a lot with CrossFits. He's got like a CrossFit chain in the big cities, and he said that the advice given to him was niches will lead you in ditches. And I was, wow, is that right? Maybe it's right in some places, some not. But, you know, your true north, I'm assuming like we don't really choose our true north. It chooses us. So if I was like, Bret, you know, this other group of people are going to come into your gym. Like if that's not what's in your heart, I mean, it's hard to, you know, to do the 19-hour days. So, you know, there's been some questions here about owning a gym, best pieces of equipment. Somebody was asking about doing, what did she say? She's pregnant and able to do the glute hip thrust or bridge. So let's talk about some, you know, crucial pieces of equipment in your gym.
Well, real quick, I want to respond to what you said because like my true north, you know, I'm the glute guy, but I'm also like Zach, if you and I were training partners, well, like, see this? I got these jammer handles because I saw you using them. Yeah, I got the jammer handles on my power rack, you know. I love all strength and conditioning. Yeah, I'm the glute guy, but I could also be the pec guy, the lat guy, the delt guy, the arm guy, the quad guy, the ham guy, whatever. I love it all. So one reason that I'm so successful with my bikini clients now is because I'm a CSCS strength coach who understands progressive overload, and this applies to everyone. So, Zach, I'd rather have you train my bikini girls than these competition coaches. Their programs are atrocious, and they don't know how to carry it out, and they don't know how. Like, I'll say to these women, like, okay, how many chin-ups can you do, Ron? How many? What can you military press? The bar for like 6 reps, and I'm like, okay, we got to get you way stronger. No, well, I don't want to bulk up, and I'm like, well, I don't want to be quad dominant. I'm like, you're not quad dominant. You thought you could go on stage weighing 135, and you need to weigh 125. When you lose those 10 pounds, you will not be quad dominant. Your legs will look perfect. You're still going to squat with school leg press. Trust me on this, and it happens with everyone, but I'm an effective coach because I understand progressive overload. I can write good programs where you can recover but still set PRs, and that's why we have such an advantage over, like, Zach, you and I have such an advantage because we've studied this stuff, and we understand. So people will be like, oh, it's all diet. The training doesn't matter. No, it's not. The training matters. The training matters very much. But anyway, to get on to the best piece of equipment,
Bret, do you see the questions or just me?
I do see them.
Okay.
I can even
answer any order you want.
Okay, pregnant women. I've got a video coming out on this. I actually filmed 4 pregnant ladies here. I put like a thing out on my Instagram, and I've got a video coming out. It's like done. I just have to do a voiceover. I've just been so busy. But can they hip thrust? Yes, they can. You got to move the bar down, you know, like instead of putting the bar here, you put it here, like on the other side of the pelvis, and then you don't go as deep. You don't go as deep into hip flexion. You can still do it, but there's a ton of other glute stuff you can do. And this doesn't just apply to pregnancy, it applies to injuries. I have all these clients that are like, I'm in a cast, I can't train. My doctor told me not to train. And you can do side lying stuff. You can do open chain stuff, reverse hyper, like cable stuff. You can do a ton of stuff still. You don't have to quit training glutes or lower body at all. You can work around things. Half of what we do is working around things. A lot of times you don't feel good. You got to learn how to work around it and not train through it.
Yes.
Okay, what else?
The equipment in
Jim, can you give us your 3 best pieces of equipment in your gym for building the glutes? Okay.
Brett, if you want to give a tour of your gym, I could get it up on YouTube. It's up to you. You could flip the camera if you want.
Ooh, good call. Okay. Let's see. So here I've got my heavy kettlebells and dumbbells. Like those are 130s and 150s. This is a cable column from Sorinex. And what's nice about this is that it's got the band peg attachments right here.
Yes.
So I can attach bands, these bands to it, and it's real smooth. But we do a lot of stuff off here for glutes. We put the spud belt on, put around our hips, put around the hips and kneel down.
I saw that.
Yep. Kneeling hip thrusts or standing hip thrusts. It works great. Here are my dumbbells. Here are these DC blocks for like block pulls, but we use it. We stand on them and do like between bench dumbbell squats. We do a lot of stuff. Stability ball, sled, squat stands. That step we use a lot for Bulgarian split squats. Pulling stands I never use for Olympic lifts, but I use them to stand on.
Okay.
And step. These are the equalizers, the inverted row handles. I love those. These are the extra tall ones. Oh, and I've got the parallel bars here, which I use for push-ups. We use those parallel bars, these guys right here.
Yep.
To do handle push-ups, and I put my feet on that, on the incline press.
Okay.
This Bosu ball, the Bosu ball we use for frog pumps and glute bridges. You put your head on it to keep your chin tucked. Okay, here's my scorcher. This Bulgarian bag works really well for loading up hip thrusts and glute bridges. This is a scorcher. That's my invention from 2006. This is what I had at my old gym. I've got the glute builder right here. This is another guy invented this. This is awesome. There's a ton of different things you can do with all these different band pegs. Got a lat pull down with all these different attachments. So many different attachments in here that are all awesome. Ankle weights, dip bar with all the bands that we use, incline press, reverse hyper. That's the classic one from Louis. That's my favorite one.
Yeah, that's an older one. What are your
Old school.
On that?
I love it. Yeah, I love it. I like doing them so you can do them like the West Siders would let it swing and they just do the concentric.
They'd swing under.
Yeah, they swing under and then just do the concentric. I actually teach people to keep a good arch and stop it eccentrically and come back up. It makes it a lot harder hamstring exercise.
Okay.
But they're all good. We also get down, I'll put like one of those pads down. They kneel on that and do kickbacks. So they kneel onto this and do kickbacks from that. It works great.
I've seen that video. I'm going to, on my blog, post up a lot of your videos for people to get more of a visual.
Yep. This is my 45 hyper. We use this a ton.
Yep.
Okay. So the incline press, this is a chest supporter row. Yes. 3 different grips on that. Tons of plates. This is a power rack with all the bells and whistles. We had to put the chin-up bar upside down because it's so high up. I got a tall one.
Tall.
So we got rings, the multi-grip chin bar, the jammer handles. This is a step-up attachment that you can put at any height. And then I got the suspension straps, and that's a single-leg squat stand.
Yep.
For Bulgarian split squats. Okay, here's the lever squat. This is all my bands. I've got so many different bands. They're mini bands, short bands, the loops and the hip circles and stuff. This is a hip thruster. That's my invention. Yes. Also kind of cool. I've got 3 TVs here. So I have like I'll have like a game playing, news on, and then like a movie or something. That's
Great atmosphere for everybody.
yeah. Here's my hip thruster. Here's the Smith machine, and we do a lot of hip thrusts on the Smith machine. I love Smith machine hip thrusts, but we also do reverse lunges and stuff. Okay, that's my glute ham developer. That's from Elite FTS. I've had this for ages, like 15 years. This is the belt squat.
Pit shark.
Love the pit shark. That's the assault air runner.
Oh yeah.
Treadmill. Bathroom in here. Closet in here. Here's all the clients' books. We're running out of room already.
So Bret, you record on paper still?
Yeah. The old-fashioned way.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
And do you like that, or do you want to go to software?
No, I like it because we have them write their workouts, and I feel like it teaches them responsibility.
That's amazing. Awesome. I love it.
Yeah. This is the Sorinex poor man's glute ham raise.
Yes.
So like, yeah, it's really cool. I like this a lot because they find their folder, and like, you go through and it's like, here's their first workout, and we write it, and then they have to record their weights, and it teaches them like, I got to try and set PRs. I want to do progressive overload.
Yeah, they get what. How does your membership work, Bret? Do people sign up for a certain amount of time, a minimum amount of time?
Yeah, we just do monthly, and like when we do drop-ins, we do monthly, and they can do once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week. We're only 25 a session, but we train up to 8 people at a time with 2 trainers. So I just, Zach, here's what I did. I said to myself, all right, I can be really expensive and work with few people, or I can be very affordable and work with a ton of people. I want to be churning out a lot of nice glutes here. I want to be working with a lot of people, and I don't care so much about the money. I'll make my money other ways. With the gym, I'm like, let's turn a lot of people out of here. So it's $25. If you come once a week, it's $100 a month. If you come twice, it's 200. 3 times. So we already have 60 people. Pretty soon we're going to be full, and we won't be able to take on new people.
Yeah, but my first location was that size, like 16. What'd you say you have? 1,600?
Yeah.
I think my first spot was like 1,600, and I thought it was like the perfect space because the crowd gave everybody energy. It wasn't too big. It was good, man.
Yeah. So let me keep going. This is my office. Okay. My office right here. I sit down there and put my computer up here, but that's an extra bench because I bought the Thompson fat pads. So I have this extra bench and risers and these folding chairs, and it works perfectly. But this here is a seated hip abduction machine. We use this a ton for glutes. It's amazing for glutes. We have people lean forward and hold on to the rails when they do this. Works so good. This is my favorite leg press. It's the Cybex squat press.
I've used that one before. Why do you like that one? Moves much differently.
Yeah.
Additional. So why?
Like whoever made this just knew the human body and how it's supposed to feel. It's like this is just so smooth. It just feels better than the other. And then we've got like these benches that we use for different things. Wagon wheels, bands. There I've got like, we don't use this much, but like the cardio stuff, the rower and the Airdyne. And then we have like ropes and things up here, but we don't use this that much. But these bands I actually use a lot for delt training. I never thought I would, but they feel good.
Yeah.
Wagon wheels for box pulls. The bench press, I love having a Thompson fat pad. It makes it feel better. And then we, of course, like the boards and the slingshot, all these different specialty bars. We've got every one of them, the cambered bar, the safety squat bar, everything. I've got the deadlift platform. Here's a bunch of like gadgets and bells and whistles, chains. The booty builder back here I just got like 2 days ago. I'm going to move it, but I just got this 2 days ago, and this is like the Cadillac of hip thrusts. This hopefully you start seeing in gyms, but what's cool about this is this has band peg attachments too. So we put these bands on them. But like, I hope to start seeing these in gyms. I like the way this brick wall looks, and with the AstroTurf, that's where we do most of our selfies, is like right here. This, Zach, you'll recognize, that's the grappler from Westside.
Dude, so funny, Bret, because I gave it to one of my earliest clients, and I reached out to him, and he said, you know, he's got his own house. He's an adult now. He goes, yeah, it's still in my parents' garage. I said, dude, if you ain't using it, I'll get it. So I'm meeting him tomorrow to pick it up. I was using it in like 2003, 2004, and it was awesome.
It's awesome.
Louis said he would have the fighters go for 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's badass. So, okay, moving on. Chalk bin. Here all the little plates, the 5-pounders, 2.5s, the micro plates, deadlift lever, which is clutch. All my collars. Here's all these, you know, bells and whistles and attachment pieces, box squat, and I think that's it. I think I've gone through everything.
Bret, what does program design look like? Is everybody on a different program? Do you do a progression of the same program for 3 weeks? What does it kind of look like?
Yep. So it's like, you know, we do, depends. A lot of the people here, here's what's different now, because when I had the gym before, I had people doing full body training with me. They'd come 3-4 times a week and do full body training. And here I got a lot of people who want to come once or twice a week and just train glutes with me. And I'm like, I want to be training your whole body, but we cater to them. So
gotcha.
I'm here to train glutes. I always try and get them. I think we'll win a lot of these people over in time, and they'll start saying, okay, train everything. Because a lot of the people who do body part split training, they're just not strong. You know, they'll hit variety once a week and do shoulders once a week, but it's all variety, and they never buckle down and get strong at the military press. Or so I want to be training even the bikini girls. I want to convince them to try different types of programs. The body part split is the most popular program, but I like total body. I like upper lower. I like push pull.
Yes.
I like all of them. I even have my own like compound bro, I call it. So like you do your heavy compound, say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and you do like your bro sessions on like Tuesday and Thursday, where it's more like isolation and just lifts that feel good, that don't hurt, you know?
I feel like I don't recall you ever having an injury that I know of where you're like, man, this is banged up on me. And I've, like I said, I've seen you deadlifting 500 for like 9 or 10. And also I see you benching very wide. I know your arms are long, but I've seen you, I don't even think I've seen you squatting with a safety bar. I see you with the straight bar. So what do you think are keys to your longevity and keys that others could benefit? What keeps somebody healthy who's legitimately a meathead like you?
Yeah, good question. So I do get banged up, but I'm really good at listening to my body. It took me 20 years to get this way. And if I could urge the listeners to just do a better job than I did of listening to your body and training around things.
Yes.
If your knee is hurting, don't squat. If your low back is hurting, don't deadlift. Live to train another week. Work around it. You can always, if your knee's hurting, you can do posterior chain exercises just fine. Low back is hurting, you can do single leg exercises usually. I mean, it all depends on the injury, but in general, you can always be working around things, and that's what I've gotten better at. I've been better at listening and just saying, okay, so I've had times where I had to take time off of bench press because my pec was hurting and my tricep was hurting, my tricep tendon was hurting, or I have times where I've had to take off squatting because my knee was hurting, times where I had to take off deadlifting because my low back. But guess what? You train around it, you strengthen other things, and then when you come back to it with really strict form and ease back into it, a lot of times that sets the stage for setting more PRs.
Yeah. What about nutrition? You're very lean. I can't remember what you said you weigh, about 240 something, 250?
238 right now, but the lowest that you typically get is 225. The most is like 250, 252-ish, but
What's eating look like, especially with you being so busy? What's a day of eating look like?
So I eat like around 6,000 calories a day. Here's what's funny about that. I remember at one point going, like I can't lose weight like I used to. Like I think I have a thyroid problem, and I went and got a test, and my TSH came up rock bottom, and I'm like, I knew it. And the doctor's like, no, that means your thyroid is through the roof, because if thyroid stimulating is rock bottom, that means your thyroid is sky high. And I'm like, oh, okay. So then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna weigh and track my food for a month, and I'm eating like so many calories compared to other people. I just didn't know it. This was several years ago, and so now I know I'm lucky. I can hold a lot of calories, but when I diet down, I've got to get strict, and probably like twice a year, I start going, oh my God, I've let myself, especially here in San Diego with the burritos, and that's right by like a baked bear stuff where they have the ice cream cookie sandwiches, like, yeah. So I start going, okay, I need to tighten the ship up and clean up my diet. Then I'll go down to eating like 4,000 and a lot cleaner. And
what's cleaner? Just getting rid of like
yeah,
bread?
not any, well, just not having as many bowls of cereal, not having junk food, not having ice cream. And it's funny because I don't like
cereal.
The clean eating thing, like stupid, because a lot of these women are like not having their periods, but then they're like, but that's sugar. And I'm like, you are unhealthy right now. You need to get your periods back. Sugar is your best friend right now. Sugar is healthy for you. If you can gain 10 pounds back and start getting your periods, this is healthier for you. So I don't like it. Clean eating. If you're in the jungle starving, a Snickers bar will save your life. So I don't like that term at all. But we all kind of know what it means. It's like, just quit eating so much junk, because I end up eating so many calories that way. When I clean things up, my calories go down to 4,000 instead of 6,000, and I lose weight. But yeah, I don't have like I'm very flexible. I don't have macros. I just intuitively know I've had about 200 to 220 grams of protein a day, and then the rest come from fats and carbs. If I'm craving more fats, I eat less carbs. Sometimes I just want nuts and eggs and seeds and things. Fine, I just don't have many carbs. Some days I'm craving cereal and things like that. I just don't have as much fats. That's what I want people to get to, with this intuitive stage where they don't weigh anything, you don't track anything, you don't have to count, you just know in your head, and you maintain a similar body weight and body composition, and it's effortless. It doesn't require a lot of willpower. You've just reached this healthy lifestyle it's not so hard, so you don't backslide. It's easy to maintain.
Yeah, it sounds like it's, that's kind of what you did with your training. Hey, I feel great. I'll lift heavy. I feel banged up. I'll work around it. But you're just consistent with your approach. And I think that's, if I use the word healthy, that is healthy. Physically, it's emotionally healthy. I'm not extreme, I'm doing a lot of up and down as my mind and body go with it. So, with your busy schedule, for people out there that are very busy, do you eat breakfast? And, what does the schedule of your workday look like with training people? How does it go from,
Yeah, every day is so different, but like, I wake up, I'll have a shake first thing and a Greek yogurt. So lots of protein. I'll put 2 scoops of whey protein in milk and add oats and honey and nuts into it. Sometimes coconut flakes, and then a Greek yogurt. So I'm having 70 grams of protein right there. And then I'll go to work. I'm working on an ebook and a book right now. So I'm doing that with his colleague, Glenn Cordoza. He wrote Supple Leopard.
Oh, I know Glenn. Yep.
Yeah, really talented dude.
Yep.
So I'm working on that with him. Then I'll come to the gym. I'll have a snack before I go to the gym. Sometimes a couple of eggs and some nuts and seeds, or I really like dried fruit too. So I eat tons of dried fruit. So I don't eat a lot of pasta and potatoes and rice and bread because I like my dried fruit so much. So I just replace it. So then I'll do that, come to the gym. Then I'll be here a lot of the day, training a couple people, observing everything, making sure everything runs smoothly. And then at the end of the day, we're done training people. That's when I have still left on the plate. I've got to work out. I've got to write programs.
What time is that around?
And then I've got to read, do my answer emails, do my reading, and do my Instagram usually at nighttime.
What time is that? Around 8 o'clock ish?
Yeah, that's like from 8 to like 2 a.m. And because I'm working on so many different things, it's not monotonous. I'm at the gym, I train people, I